Well, hello. It's been a minute since I've been on here or made a video. Ooh, that's a nice flame. And a lot's been going on, I'm sure, for everyone. So I just felt like now would be a good time to do a collective reading with the I Ching. I have this beautiful vulture feather that I received out here in the desert in my little retreat spot. Just gonna kind of clear the space here. I got another little feather from I think it was a raven. Yeah, the messenger feather, and the vulture who transforms decay into new life. And I feel like that it's appropriate for this period of time. I'm going to be talking about or inquiring with the I Ching, the living I Ching, about our autumn equinox, which is September 22nd. So this will be put out a couple of days early. I'm recording on the 17th, which is actually on the Pisces full moon eclipse. So there's a lot of energies that have been going on, and usually I do timeless readings. But this time I just wanted to speak specifically or touch on and inquire on specifically this period of time, these energetic patterns. The equinox, there's two equinox, one in March, which is the spring equinox, is where there's a rising energy and renewal. That's usually when the sun is at 0 degrees in Aries, and that's typically in March. And that is when there's a rise of yang light and energy. So it's the energy is coming out of the winter, and so the days are getting longer. So there's an increase of light for all of us, at least in the northern hemisphere, and in the southern hemisphere, you just flip that. And for us in the northern hemisphere, the autumn equinox is in September, where the sun is at 0 degrees Libra. And that's when the light diminishes. It starts to, we have shorter days, so there's less light. And that's when we're harvesting and preparing for winter, typically, right? Leo season is when the sun is at its zenith, the most sunlight. And then from that point, we start to see, the end of summer, and then the autumn, the cooler temperatures, and the turning of the leaves, and the energy starts to go more yin, drawing back into the earth for renewal. So it's a good time to reflect and assess and, take what is good and harvest your efforts from that period of light, and to also clean up and let go, because, we're at the moment in Virgo season, and that's usually about health and organizing and daily habits. And this Pisces full moon, eclipse, is opposite Virgo. And so there's a lot of energy around letting go and renewal and health and spirituality, and yeah, so those are some of the themes that I just wanted to touch on. And with this, I don't know if we'll be able to see it, what's really kind of juicy about this equinox, one second here, is, and I'm going to see if I can't share it with you here. Oh, hello. See my ring light? Even though we have morning light here, there's shadows and stuff. Anyway, here, this is the exact time of the autumn equinox. And here we have Venus at the 29th degree in Libra with that 0 degree Libra signaling autumn equinox. So it's really beautiful because Venus, this is her home, and she's in her home looking around at all that she has accumulated in this cycle. And at the 29th degree, it's a harvest of our environment, our physical, material comforts. And also, you'll see it's with the South Node. And so the South Node has an inherent nature of letting go, purging. And so there is a sort of audit of her relationships, of her material wealth and comforts. And the 29th degree is making a connection here with Pluto, and these outer planets are all at a late degree. So it's a really powerful period of time in our lives. Like, people who are alive now, this is a rarity to see the transition of all of these outer planets at their final degrees and preparing for shifts into new signs. And, you know, all of this happening in a period of time with major eclipses. Oops. And so the Pisces eclipse, it'll be over here with the North Node and Neptune and Saturn. And we haven't seen that for a really long time either. It was actually in the reverse 9.5 years ago over here. And with the South Node. Anyway, that's getting too much in the dredges. But all of this to say that the autumn equinox is happening at a period of time in between, sandwiched in between these huge transition points. And they're all in retrograde at the moment, by the way. So that's an internal process. And with the nodes, and yeah, so it's just really intense. And yeah, between eclipses and final degrees, this equinox is pretty potent. So I just wanted to bring that up so that we have a little context around the I Ching reading, and just building a little layer around it. So how's everyone feeling? I mean, given, like, you don't need to know, you wouldn't have to know all of that astrology to recognize that things are intense right now, both in our outer environment collectively, and also in our inner worlds. So I'd love to hear how everybody's doing down below in the comments. Tell me what's up. All right. So I'm going to keep it pretty simple here. I am going to be using Ma Deva Padma Oracle Down for translation. I have other books for translation, but they are in storage and I don't know where they are. And you can see my pennies are kind of getting a little tired too, need some renewal also. All right, so we're going to go into prayer. And by the way, the question that we're engaging in with the oracle, with the I Ching, is, what messages are available for the autumn equinox? What is most needed for the collective at this time? All right. So I'm just going to take a moment here. Just clearing my energetic body, bypassing conscious mind, accessing the superconscious, connected to the living spirit of the I Ching. Thank you for bringing forward messages that are necessary and essential for the collective at this time. All right. So, what messages are available for the autumn equinox? What message is most needed for the collective at this time? What messages are available for the autumn equinox? What message is most needed for the collective at this time? All right, there we have it. We have some moving lines, which just adds layer to the message. Okay. So here we have thunder. And heaven. All right. Let's see what number that turns out to be. All right, thunder on the bottom. And heaven on the top is number 25. So that is our first one. That's our first message, our primary hexagram. When we have moving lines, the nature of the original line shifts and changes the hexagram. So this would then be, it would go from yang to yin. And then this one is from yin to yang. Yeah. And then, so that trigram changes on the bottom. And then obviously this one stays the same. So then our secondary message, and each line when it changes also has a message, so we may or may not get into that, but we'll see. We're just going with the flow here. So heaven on top is the same. Now if you're new, I do have a video somewhere in my playlists where I kind of go through a little bit more in depth on this. I think it's a short actually that simplifies it, not so much in depth. Right now, I'm kind of talking you through it, and then I have a separate video that's about how to. So, all right. So then now we have, it looks like wind, I believe, but let me just double check my, oh no, sorry, that's mountain. It's been a minute. Don't use it, you lose it, right? Okay, so heaven on top, mountain gives us number 33. So we'll look at that too. All right. But I am going to just take a moment here and pick up on what I'm seeing intuitively. So as above, so below. The top trigram represents the nature of heaven and the energy that is the state of heaven at the moment. And below, the bottom trigram represents earth. So heaven is in strong nature at the moment in both of these messages. And it's thunder on earth. So yeah, what is thunder? Thunder brings, it usually comes with storm, with chaos, with a lot of turbulence in nature. It comes with a shock. It comes spontaneously. It comes with sometimes destruction. It's a bolt of light, a bolt of insight, a bolt of energy. So heaven is dispensing on earth sharp insights at this time, destruction. It's, again, I think it's pretty in alignment with the period of time that we're in, where we are transitioning seasons and we see a shift in nature. Where I am, there's been thunderstorms and lightning, and you get, debris everywhere, but there's like a fresh, negative ionically charged, juicy atmospheric shift where you just take a nice deep breath and you feel like, renewed, and things just look sharper. So thunder is part of the message here. And so you can contemplate this on your own and think of all the ways that nature shows us and teaches us about thunder, or about how thunder can show up in our own lives. All right, so let's look at what the translation for 25 is, and I'll read the lines as well. Okay, well, let me just double check okay. So the hexagram is called innocence. So I'll write that down. Innocence. All right, so innocence in an adult is not the same thing as gullibility or naivety. Rather, it is a quality that comes with maturity and arises out of a lifetime's experience, that trusting in the heart of guidance always proves to be the best way to deal with life's ups and downs. Innocence is the ability to pay attention to the inner voice of intuition and to spontaneously respond to life unfolding in the now. That would be our thunder. An innocent person does not attempt to be an all-knowing authority and has no interest in carrying the weight of knowledge learned from other sources. He or she learns by living each moment to the fullest and is enthusiastic and inspired by even the most ordinary occurrences. One who is innocent has the refreshing childlike quality that emanates from unaffected simplicity, unconcerned by the need to prove anything. It is a wholesome quality, not childish or needy. It is to be content with being for the sake of simply being, complete in itself. All right. So I'm going to kind of skim a little bit for sake of time. So it also says, while it might be necessary to develop some armor to deal with the world, the problem is that by the time we have outgrown the need to protect ourselves, we have lost touch with the innocent quality and don't know how to go back to retrieve it. Because of our training and education in the mind can be militantly forced into trying to convince the innocent self that it is far too vulnerable to withstand the trials and tribulations of life. If you allow yourself to succumb to that belief, then it becomes necessary to strategize how to protect investments, elevate your status in relation to others, or make improvements to your persona. Plotting your moves through life based on these fears and investments of the ego denies you the ability to respond spontaneously to the new and curbs your freedom to move without the burdens of the past success or failures. Yeah, so this is kind of a cool, I like this translation. It is reminding me of this conversation I had recently about safety and significance. It really stuck with me. I don't even know what the rest of the conversation was all about, but being our societal programming that values safety and status, or our ability to be significant or feel significant or build significance around, the ego, ourselves, our identity, and placing more value on that than our innocent true nature and our flexibility in being able to spontaneously move with the now, right? We become rigid in our beliefs and less malleable, less, I see the beauty. I hope you do too. So let me just finish up this. It reminds me of how I'll speak for myself, how I have placed a lot of value on doing certain things in order to gain security, or, working really hard with the motives of, building my business and meeting these people and who I know and who I run with, and being significant or being a part of that crowd or a part of that community and being needed, right? So anyway, I've belabored that a little bit, I think. So only by trusting life, being open and available to it, can you ever taste delight. And being delighted simply means joyfully experiencing the unexpected. 'Cause, 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 Now is the time to approach each situation as it comes and be responsive to even the most subtle influences, not out of our need to manipulate, but are out of sheer vitality, enthusiasm, and sensitivity. If your innocence has been taken advantage of, the mature response of innocence, the mature response is resilience, bounce back, quality that is only ever strengthened by adversity. Above all, remember that life is a moment-to-moment flowering, not some problem to be solved. When you live in the here and now, there is nothing to defend. Everywhere you look, there is an opportunity for wonder. All that is required is that you look through the innocent eyes of a child. Okay. Very nice, very nice, very nice. So the bottom changing line says, relaxing into the flowing quality of change will support your ability. This is the base moving line here. Relaxing into the flowing quality of change will support your ability to respond spontaneously and with the right timing. You can trust in your heart to see you through these times, and the heart is always on the side of the spontaneous and real. It's beautiful. And then the third moving line, the advice here says, it's this one here. For many people, the idea of living spontaneously can be threatening to careful constructs that are designed to handle every problem that faces them from the cradle to the grave. The innocent person recognizes that it is natural to try to construct defenses against chaos and disorder. And it is just as natural that the scaffolding should collapse from time to time. And that's, again, speaking to the nature of thunder. Don't allow yourself to be shaken from what you know to be true, and you just might learn from the experience how to construct a better scaffolding. Yeah, so the divine is really provided us with ample amount of celestial energies that are transitioning us as a collective and individually through this huge transformation. And it is our flexibility, it is the innocence of our nature in the flow of the now, and an open heart and curiosity and willingness to see what will be renewed or what will come out of the old that will help us through a pretty turbulent time. And it could make a scary situation or hard change more joyful. I think there always is a little bit of good that comes out of things that are hard. You know, I always feel really good after I've gone through something that has been hard and difficult. It's not always the case, but, you know, usually with time, not always right away. All right, so 33. All right, retreat. So I'll try not to belabor this one as much. So we've talked about the main message, which is innocence, how the advice shows up in the bottom trigram. And it really is just about being in the now, trusting in your heart, trusting in life, trusting in the nature of change, and finding joy in it. And now we have retreat. Geese intuitively know before the season change that the time for retreat is imminent. They have built-in understanding that they must depart once the days get shorter, or they will invite danger. Their migratory movements are a symbol of the time of transition just before the onset of winter. In human life, of course, in human life, I don't know why I can't read today. In human life, a considered departure is a sign of intelligence when it is in response to insurmountable odds. Whenever you have a deep intuitive sense that it would be unwise to remain any longer in a situation or in a relationship, pay attention to it. The intuitive self knows when periods of transition are approaching, but in the noise and bustle of everyday life, it is easy to miss the subtle whispers of that inner knowing. That is the moment to become reacquainted with its guidance. Yeah, so again, this is where we are speaking about the transition of the seasons and the eclipses, which we are under right now, a full moon Pisces eclipse. So it's at the end of the zodiacal wheel. It's the end of a cycle. It is purging and letting go and transitioning us so that we can move forward anew. And again, we're at a pinnacle point of light where it starts to transition. So we're at the mountain, and when you're on the mountain, you're able to see things from a bird's eye view. So you're assessing from a higher vantage point, or as it speaks here, the intuitive knowing. Like there's signs, the birds are leaving, and it's symbolic of transition. It's time to reassess and to let go of anything that's no longer in service to you or has, come to a decaying point. Let's see. So the type of withdrawal implied here is very different from fight or flight reaction that is only interested in defending or protecting itself. In this case, retreat is an act of strength, not of weakness. When it becomes clear that the surrounding atmosphere has become chilly and what once supported growth and expansion is no longer available to you, consider all your options, but not for too long. Avoid any tendency to intellectualize and watch out for the circular fretfulness of a mind that won't budge until it figures things out. So you don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have to know where things are going to go next. You don't need to, it's asking you to support, to step into that inner understanding, that step into the heart of your inner knowing, your nature, and out of the mind that the ego, the intellect feeds the ego, and it gets in the way, and it creates a rigid circumstance where this needs to be in order, what about that, and where is it going? And again, it goes back to being embracing innocence. The child doesn't know where its next meal is coming from, but the mother is there. Nature always provides. All right. Retreating into nature is restorative by providing the space for contemplation and realignment with your subtle inner rhythms. And meditation is a form of retreat that can happen without ever going anywhere. So that's one form of retreating. So you don't have to go anywhere necessarily. Withdrawing from the day's busyness by turning your attention inward makes it easier to dispassionately evaluate the outer signs of change. Enables you to make right choices and renews a sense of well-being. Once you know that time for retreat has arrived, don't hesitate to spread your wings, and with the wind at your back, move toward the new. So I'm really grateful to the spirit of the I Ching for this message. It really feels and resonates with the period of time in which we're speaking of, and the question that was posed, the query. And let's see. I brought out some cards, but honestly, like, I feel like this message is pretty complete and whole on its own. So yeah, is that right? I think so. All right. Anyway, nice to be back. We'll see you guys soon. Happy autumn equinox. You know, where can you be more flexible, joyful, fluid in the nature of your heart versus the mind? Where can you see that things are shifting and changing? Where can you let go? More specifically in your Pisces house, in order to move on to a place that is new, in order to stay flexible enough to receive the guidance needed to walk towards your own personal evolution. And yeah, take some time to, maybe take a walk to an elevated space, go to a mountain, or just meditate and take a look at nature right now, the signs that it's showing you about change and the shift of energy, and how it's showing up for you, and where you can apply that in your own life. So I hope this has been helpful and in service, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, ciao.